Tangipahoa River flows from Osaka, Mississippi to Lake Pontchartrain, the southeastern part of Louisiana. There's a rich history of Indian tribes in that part of Louisiana, and the river is named after a word used by an Indian tribe called the Oklapisa, or those people who look out for people. Tangipahoa means those who gather corn, and it means ear of corn. They settled around Lake Pontchartrain about 1702, having some 1,500 people and 200 warriors. Pottery shards and other items are continuously found while walking the lakeshore, especially the northwestern bank and whenever digging. From Tent's Landing, where the boats are put in, to the spot where our camp was, includes canals and inlets. Going towards the lake and on the left, there's the Rice Fields Canal. Then Beatico Creek. Next is P. Rand's Point, where the game ward's camp was. This inlet was also called Cowpens Canal and Barge Canal. The last inlet on the left was the Little Shell Hole, or pond. On one side of Beatico Creek, and on the right was Uncle Billy's camp. Next to the camp was a canal that went deep into the swamps, as most of them did. Then there's the Big Shell Hole, actually smaller than the Little Shell Hole. And inside the Big Shell Hole is Middle Bayou, and was accessible once entering into the Big Shell Hole or pond. This bayou canal went deep into the swamp also. Finally, there's Jerry King Canal, and Lake Pontchartrain itself is visible from this point. And this would fork, and each fork would go deep into the swamps. The swamps are mostly called the hurricanes, and so many of these storms fell trees and shaped the shorelines and swamps continuously. Our place was the last on the left-hand side of the river as it opened up into Lake Pontchartrain. Of course, the family had a place in Baton Rouge, and it was on the Tangipahoa River that I spent a wonderful amount of time from infancy until I became a young man. Dad started yelling, "David, get your BB gun and come down here." So at 8 years old, I did just that, got my BB gun and ran down the stairs to see where he was. So he told me to cock the gun. Now you'd only get one cock. The lever's going to go down and then back up, back into position. So that's all the power you'd have behind that BB. Now Dad got me next to him and told me to find a snake that was the subject of Dad's excitement. The snake was too close to the yard and the main pier where the family would be very often. Where we were standing, and me being about 3 foot tall, was to the right of our main pier, looking out at the lake. Now we're standing by the bulkhead, which was behind a much smaller walking, standing, fishing kind of pier. In between that pier and the bulkhead was plenty of water, mud, reeds, brush, and a lot of things snakes like to eat, all under the shade of cypress trees growing in the water and tinseled with Spanish moss. Dad knew where the snake was, and he wanted to get me ready for hunting as I grew older, and finding game is just about the first part. And you have to understand that a water moccasin is extremely poisonous in the ground. They will come after you to attack, especially if you're in the water, and it looks every bit like what it lives in. Muddy, dirty, and mucky, so if you don't know what you're looking for, you have to squint your eyes a bit until your eye catches something out of place. Now you have to find the head. It's also good to know that in swamps, snakes are always around, so you have to look for them. I did eventually find the snake, and Dad said, "Now shoot him in the head." So pop, small, water spout, and the sound of a slap at the same time. And that snake started writhing and squirming, and Dad yells, "Pour it on him, son, pour it on him. Shoot him in the head." All to the tune of click, snap, pop, splash, slap. I wasn't good with the gun sight yet, so I just kept cranking, and the snake made a mess out of the spot he was in too, because he wanted to swim, crawl, or jump off to be somewhere else, but couldn't navigate that well after so many BBs to the head. The snake stopped moving after a time, and Dad said, "Don't touch him. I'm going to get him and show you why this kind of snake is dangerous." The family knew I played a lot in the same muddy spot from when I was a toddler, so Dad didn't want me to just jump down there and grab a snake. Dad made sure he was dead and used a stick to show me the fangs. He also pointed out the shape of his head, telling me that if the snake's head was like a triangle, then he's poisonous. Every morning and evening you'd have to walk along those bulkheads and looking for snakes, because we wanted to walk in the yard or sit in the lounge chair and the light, sit and fish off the pier, clean fish on the pier, boil and eat crabs on the pier, jump in the lake, get into a boat, etc. And that was the first snake that I had killed, and I started learning a great respect for them. They're fine until you bother one by accident, and then everyone's surprised.